Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, we got a big promise and a little amount of time. So let's see how much of this we can get through. But we're going to get your freedom back. The fastest way to freedom. I have an amazing guest with me who travels around the world, joining me from South America. Actually, first guest, I think, to join me from South America on this show. So that's cool. Kudos to you, Zach. But Zach Oehlman, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Excited.
Me too. Fastest way to freedom. I think we have to start with some context, though, because that means something different for everybody. So why don't you give me the definition of freedom that you are going to speak into today?
Yeah. And so, in the world that I grow up in the world of business, it's like we all think it's money freedom. And then we make money and then we're like, oh my gosh, it's not always necessarily true. And so the freedom I'm talking about is in all aspects of your life. The freedom to live the life that you want by design. And so, for example, there was three things I wanted. I wanted to travel the world, help people, and make money. And I've been able to do that over the last, 20 plus years. And so that I'm living my life, I'm living freedom. And, do I still have obligations? Do I still have things I don't want to do? Yes, right? That's never going to go away. But I get to do it from anywhere in the world that I want now. So I've created a life by design.
That's beautiful. I think that's honestly what everybody wants. I've never really met anybody when the question is posed that way, like, would you like this? They would say no. But we get caught up in this worldly definition of freedom, which is, you hinted at it. It's the finances, it's the private jet, it's the butler. And I'm like, we just don't need that. It's not as fulfilling as you think it is from the outside. So
Right.
I'm curious, when you talk about the fastest way to freedom, it's winning the lottery, right? Is that what we're here to talk about?
You got it. And I have the lucky numbers. So keep listening.
If only it were that simple. But still, we just talked about this. Money is not the solution.
Right.
Because even in that scenario, a lot of people wouldn't know what to do with all that money, and they'd be broke in 2 years, as most lottery winners are. So that is actually not the fastest path to freedom. So tell me, what is the fastest path to freedom then?
So it's different for everyone. And that's why, I have this thing that we've created in our community. It's called the vision to reality. And what we do is, and you can use this framework for anything. It's where are you? Where do you want to go? And so the where do you want to go is your freedom. And so for me, it was I want to ride motorcycles. I want to hang out with tribes. I want to travel the world. I want to have epic adventures. And I want to grow businesses because I love all that. And so I had to create my destination before I could even start. And so what we do is we ask people, okay, where are you? What are your skill sets? What are the most valuable thing that you can sell in the marketplace? And I love using Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. And I ask you, okay, where are you? Are you in the W-2, self-employed, business, or investor? And then the life that you want to live, which one do you need to be in, right? Can you stay in that same quadrant? Because the biggest thing, I don't want to say I've made a lot of mistakes. One of the lessons, let me rephrase that, is I quit my high-paying six-figure job way too early. If I would have had me coaching me 15 years ago, I would have said, stay in your job, leverage your credit score, buy rental properties, learn business before you jump in. Because I jumped in and I learned some lessons. And, not everyone can make it through those lessons. And so, I talked to some people like me, I should have stayed in my job longer. That would have been the fastest way to freedom for me. Other people, because I was socially awkward, it took me a lot of personal development to gain a personality where I actually could talk to people. And I joined a mastermind, paid $20,000+, drove to Chicago, 200 miles round trip twice a week, and I didn't talk to anyone for 3 years. I was that socially awkward.
Wow.
And so for me, who I was, the fastest way to freedom would have been in my job. For other people that are social, for other people that have high valuable skill sets such as sales and marketing, their fastest way to freedom might be selling someone else's stuff, right? For some of you that have business experience, your fastest way to freedom might be, staying in the business. For you guys that are in that investor quadrant, well, maybe go buy some real estate. I don't know. And so that's what I do is I share sort of the path in the building blocks, and and I do this all free. I have a free call every Friday where I'm like, okay, where are you? Where do you want to go? I interview them. I understand their building blocks, their resources, their value, and I said, if I was you, this is the way I would go. Right. And what I found is, like you said, I thought I wanted a private jet. I thought I wanted all that other stuff. And dude, I could live off. I could be extremely happy on $5,000 a month, five to $7,500 a month. I don't, I've gone through that phase of where I've learned that it isn't about the materialistic stuff anymore.
Yeah. And I'm looking back at the people who I've considered mentors in my life over the years and in business in life. And for the most part in my 20s, it was definitely those people who preached the jets and the mansions and the lifestyle and all this. And then I don't know what it was in me, but I asked a question one time. I was like, how much would it cost to maintain a private jet, and why do I want that? That one
Right.
stupid question was like, oh yeah, that sounds so dumb. I could just, if I really wanted to, fly first class, or or
Right.
fly private, but not own the jet. And you ask these
Right.
questions over and over, and it's like just what you're saying. Which quadrant are you in? Which one do you want to be in? Well, for me, it wasn't the quadrant where the jet was. Whichever quadrant that was in, I did not need to be there. I'm curious, when you first talk to people, though, where do you most commonly meet them, in which quadrant, and which one do they self-identify as wanting to get to most often?
Almost everyone wants to be an investor,
Why
right?
is that?
It's because I think they've been brainwashed. Like, I'm being completely honest, just like I was, right? Where you don't have to do anything and you can live that beach life or whatever, no worries, no whatever. The money comes in, residual income. It's a bunch of. I haven't met anyone like that, because when you're in that quadrant, you have to keep up to date on your assets. I mean, because it's all assets, right? So you're moving money from one account to the next. You're like, okay, how do I decrease my taxes? How do I protect my assets? How do I do this? How do I do that? So it's a different conversation at a much elevated conversation. There's still work, right? The question, I love that stuff though. I mean, I made a business out of living in that sector. And we do financial services, and so I do fractional CFO, tax strategy, bookkeeping, tax prep, all of that. So I get excited about it, and other people hate it. And so out of everyone I talk to, almost everyone wants to go there. The question is, well, how do you get there? Do you go from W-2 directly there? Do you go through self-employed directly there? And Dave Ramsey, I think it was Dave Ramsey, says you're one of your most valuable resources is your income. And that's where I see a lot of people are disconnected. They think they're going to borrow, especially in this real estate world. I've been in the real estate industry for 15 years. And that's what I got started, because I heard no money, no credit, no problem. But what they don't tell you is, if you don't have any money and you don't have any credit, you need experience and education. And that does cost money, right? And so I had to gain that experience. And then essentially what I did is I started a business. I wasn't an investor. I was a business owner in the industry of real estate. And when you phrase it that way, it gives it a much more realistic flavor to the people that think they want to do this. Because I talk to people that don't have any money, don't have any credit. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to break that. And I could just see all the joy in them leave. I'm like, you're going to work your butt off marketing and selling stuff. And they're like, well, I hate those. I was like, well, let's just get this over with now. This isn't the industry for you. Right. And what I've learned, I was a socially awkward finance guy, and I knew finance very well, but I wasn't making, I was high six figures, but not like the type of money I wanted. And then I learned, oh, the big money is in sales and marketing of anything, right? The highest paid positions are sales positions, right? And so I started really becoming an expert at that. And so what I tell people, if they don't have any money or any credit, you're going to market something or you're going to sell something. And I try to focus on that. And I say, real estate's a hard thing to break into. I say, go find something you believe in and sell it. I mean, that's honest to God, that's what I did. I believed in something. I went and I sold it. I understood. We've created a business model called FOSSM, Finance, Operations, Sales, and Marketing. I've learned all four of those inside and out. And that's all the frameworks we give away to help people understand what's behind the curtain so they don't keep spending money on all these high ticket programs with incorrect expectations.
Man, that's a trigger point right there.
Am
I gotta tell
I
you.
getting cut off? Did I find the no zone?
No, we could go down rabbit holes and unpack
Yeah.
that for like the next 12 hours because
Right.
I see that I see kind of those two things actually with our clients all the time. So for context, we do fractional COO consulting with our clients. And we'll go in there and we'll work on kind of one thing at a time. We work on a sprint approach. So we take every 90 days, we're reevaluating what are we working on. And then we also have, if they want to work for a longer period of time, we have one focus. So for example, one of our clients wants to sell their company in the next 12 to 18 months. Fantastic. We know what to do every 90 days to get that accomplished in the next 12 to 18 months. And I ask these questions of not the four quadrants, but in that sort of realm, like what do you want to do after that? Because you can't just sell a company and have nothing to do afterwards. This particular person will run off a cliff because they're so bored. So he's like, well, I want to invest in real estate. And I said, okay, you're going to have no income. So how are you going to buy investment properties? And he's like, well, I don't know, but I want to invest in real estate. Like, hang on. Why don't you just keep the business, have it running itself, and then you can invest in real estate. You can show proof of income and acquire these properties. And then over the next 10 years, after you more than replace your income, now you can sell the business, have that larger chunk of money, and you won't have to worry so much about the rental business running itself. And he's almost at the point where, and I see this a lot. This is why I tell the story to ask this question. He's got to the place of, I just want to be done with this thing because it's not fulfilling me. And I don't even care that I can't pursue my next dream because I don't have the proof of income to go buy homes. I just need to get away from this thing. How often do you meet people who they're just so tired of where they are, they can't even see a path to where they want to be. So they just run away from everything and they almost end up starting from scratch.
I would say I probably see it as much as you see it, which is every day. Like, and I love that you do see it. So we do fractional CFO, fractional COO, fractional finance, operations, sales, and marketing. We do that
Yep.
whole exec C-suite. And I would say the vast majority of people that are starting or, starting to make some money have no idea what a business is. Like the mechanics of a business, of SOPs and bringing in staff so that you can actually remove yourself from it, right? Because we're all sold. I was sold this vision that it's easy.
Good
right,
luck.
20 years later, right? I'm like, so I've spent over $1 million trying to figure this out between coaching programs, mentorships, and all that. And it is the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's sold to, at least I see it sold to most people out there as, oh yeah, it's just this thing. And but I will tell you, it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. But I would say the vast majority of, at least we'll call them self-employed people, right? The people that are in the business, that's why you can buy these businesses for next to nothing because they're exhausted, right? They're just pure exhausted. And they're just like, I want out. I'd lie to you if I told you there wasn't days like that for me. I just know that tomorrow's going to be a different day. I get on the phone with my coach. I deal with it. I know how to have those conversations. I know how to get through it. Right. And most people don't because they're, one of the things I've noticed is a lot of people don't focus on the emotional intelligence side of the business, like, because it's all people. Like people work for you, people buy from you. I don't care what business you're in the people business. And I see a lot of very intellectually smart people that are horrible with their emotional intelligence. And they don't know how to have conversations at that level. And so that's what I really had to work. I've been working on myself for 15 years in that realm. And the vast majority of my coaching from my performance coach is on that realm, is how do I inspire other people to do stuff for me? My employees, my staff, my team, even my clients. Like, how do I inspire them to keep wanting to move and move forward in their life? That's all emotional intelligence.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting perspective. I love that. And like I said, we could talk about this and explore it for hours and hours on end. We don't have that kind of time, but you said something interesting to me before we started recording. You said you give all your knowledge away and a lot of your time for free, which is an interesting business model. But I support you because you're doing it for the greater good. But where can the listeners go and learn more about you, learn more about what you're talking about, and join you on this quest?
Yeah, and so if you guys want, all my master classes are free. I used to sell all this stuff for $20,000+, and I give it away now. It's at learnandgrowrich.net. It's a school community. I have masterminds I run every Friday. I do a live almost every day. If I don't have I have a podcast today. I'm on this one, so I didn't do one today. But I try to make myself as accessible as possible with the sole intention of giving you the reality of what you're stepping into, so you don't buy some expensive program. I mean, at the end of the day, that's why.
I love that. Yeah, that's the other rabbit hole we didn't go down. Please stop buying programs. They're not going to solve your problems. Go seek out a mentor who can actually guide you and then invest in either the program or the consulting that will get you to that next level. But man, I don't know what they're called. Program junkies, course junkies. There's just
Well,
people who buy it and they
yeah,
scratch that itch.
and I bought a lot of it and I learned a lot of it. But I think the problem is in that arena is they're selling you an alphabet or a letter of the alphabet. And in order
Mm.
to be successful, you can't write a best-selling book without all the letters. And you can't have a brilliant business without all the components. We call it finance, operations, sales, marketing, leadership, and personal development. And the challenge is when you're buying these things, they're selling it as the one-stop solution. And I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm just saying know what you're stepping into, and that there's no one-stop solution out there.
Yeah, for the record, I said don't buy it. Zach didn't say don't buy it. I don't want to put that on him. Zach, you've been phenomenal. I told you it was a trigger point.
I love it. I found it.
Yeah, no, that was it. But it's more than that. It's more than don't buy it. It's what I see people doing and the patterns they exhibit is
Right.
you have people who love marketing. They're marketers who talk to marketers about marketing and they go to marketing conferences about marketing. And all they ever buy is marketing courses. And they're like, no,
Right.
this next marketing course is going to help me grow my business. It's like, listen, this is the 15th course you bought. If the other 14 didn't help, I don't know why you think this 15th will help you. So it's everything you said. It's a well-rounded approach. It's using all of the letters in the alphabet. That I love, but it's going down the same path over and over and over and
Right.
expecting a different result is the definition of insanity.
Almost all of these people that struggle, they never focus on finance or operations.
Preach.
That's
Yes,
why
I can
I
echo
start
that.
with finance first, and then I go to operations. So I totally get it, man. We're on the same page on that.
I love it. Okay, we'll stop boring you, the audience, with our triggers of courses and marketing, but I love it. Yes, you can go find everything Zach said, learnandgrowrich.net, down in the show notes below. Go connect with him. Zach, thank you. You've been a phenomenal guest. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, my friend.
For those of you watching and listening, A, go check out the link, please. It's in the show notes. And B, step 2, subscribe. We love having you here. Thanks for listening and being a part of this ridiculous show that is Harmonious at Lunch. We want to help you build a more harmonious business and life. And we put out 5 episodes a week to help you do that. We'll see you on tomorrow's episode of Harmonious at Lunch.